Folks, let's talk Young Sheldon. You know that show about the little fella with the IQ higher than my cholesterol after a Super Bowl party? It's a prequel to The Big Bang Theory, but instead of awkward physicists, we get an even more awkward prodigy growing up in Texas. Picture this, 1989, hairspray fumes, shoulder pads, and a 9-year-old Sheldon Cooper trying to explain quantum physics to his football coach. It's a recipe for comedy gold, people, or at least comedy beige. The show follows Sheldon as he navigates the minefield of childhood, complete with overprotective parents, a twin sister who's smarter than she looks, don't tell her I said that, and a meemaw with a heart of gold and a gambling habit that would make a poker shark blush. Now the premise might sound like a recipe for eye-rolling. Child genius? Been there, solved that, got the Mensa membership card to prove it. But here's the thing, Young Sheldon works because it's not just about Sheldon. It's about the family struggling to understand him, to relate to him, and to make sure he doesn't build a particle accelerator in the garage. You've got George Sr., the football coach, who loves his son but can't understand a word he says. Mary, the devoutly religious mom who's constantly caught between her faith and her son's scientific mind. And then there's Georgie, Sheldon's older brother, who's about as sharp as a bowling ball but twice as smooth. Rounding out the Cooper clan is Missy, Sheldon's twin sister. She's the voice of reason in a house full of lunacy, even if she does use that reason to blackmail Sheldon for his comic book collection. What makes Young Sheldon tick? Well, for starters, it's funny. Like laugh out loud, snort your soda funny. Sheldon's deadpan delivery, his family's reactions to his antics, the sheer absurdity of a 10-year-old trying to negotiate a treaty with his sister over the use of the bathroom, it's comedy gold. But it's not all fun and games. Young Sheldon isn't afraid to tug at the heartstrings either. We see Sheldon struggle to fit in, to make friends, to understand why the world doesn't always operate on logic and reason. It's surprisingly relatable, even if you weren't the kind of kid who corrected your teachers on their dinosaur facts. The show reminds us that even geniuses get lonely, even prodigies have bad days, and even future theoretical physicists need a hug from their meemaw every now and then. Section 4, Jim Parsons, you've created a monster, in a good way. Let's talk about the star of the show, Iain Armitage as Young Sheldon. Move over, Jim Parsons, there's a new Sheldon in town, and he's even more adorable with his bowl cut and oversized glasses. Armitage is phenomenal. He perfectly captures Sheldon's mannerisms, his speech patterns, his unique blend of naivete and arrogance. It's like watching a young Jim Parsons in a time machine, except with better hair. And he does it all without being a caricature. This is a kid you root for, even when he's driving everyone around him crazy with his quirks and his rules. He's brilliant, he's frustrating, and he's utterly lovable. Section 5. Plot twists you can see from a mile away, but still enjoy. Okay, so, Young Sheldon isn't exactly Game of Thrones when it comes to shocking plot twists. You know Sheldon's going to be okay. He's Sheldon Cooper, for crying out loud. He's got a Nobel Prize in his future, for Pete's sake. But that doesn't mean the show is predictable. The writers do a great job of taking familiar scenarios, first crush, school play, family vacation, and putting the Sheldon spin on them. Who knew a science fair could be so suspenseful, or that a trip to the grocery store could turn into an existential crisis? Young Sheldon reminds us that sometimes, the best stories are the ones we already know, just told in a fresh and funny way. Section 6. Okay, that was a little cheesy, even for Gouda-Loving me. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are moments in Young Sheldon that are cheesier than Wisconsin on a summer day. The laugh track can be a bit much. Some of the jokes are about as subtle as a foghorn in a library. And the heartwarming moments, well, let's just say they're not afraid to lay it on thick, but you know what? It kind of works. Young Sheldon is like that warm blanket you put on after a long day, comforting, familiar, and maybe a little embarrassing if anyone sees you with it.